Welcome to Relax and Chat, episode 56. Today we have Australian author J A Bryden. How are you today, sir?
I'm going well. I'm actually on holiday, so it's even better. I'm really relaxing. I'm in the zone.
Oh, I can't remember the last time I had a holiday. For me, really relaxing is if I get 2 hours late at night that I don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
I'm long overdue for a holiday.
that's it. That's it. Well, mine's only a weekend away, so it's not too crazy, but it's
Yeah.
still nice.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the questions. I know the audience is very eager to hear about your work. I was curious on Amazon. I do a little research on each guest. I look
Mhm.
around, and Amazon portrays you as a multi-genre writer. Do you have a favorite genre that you like to write and read?
Well, it might sound crazy, but genre is the last thing on my mind when I sit down to write a story. It's
Wow.
like it's like I'm trying to figure out how to do them all, what I'm good at, what I'm bad at. So, and even then, I have a friend that's read a few of my books, and he says you're a marketer's nightmare because is this sci-fi? Sort of. It's like I like to be multi-genre within my stories anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I can say things that I don't like writing. Like I'm not a huge fan of romance yet. It always ends up in my books for some reason, but I don't like writing it, but it's there. Um, I don't think I'd ever get into, really gory horror. Um, no offense to the Dark Veil Society, but you know, um, yeah, I haven't got a favorite yet.
Oh, well, there's a lot of different types of horror
Yeah.
and subgenres. Some don't belong. In my honest opinion, they don't belong there at all. Uh,
Mm,
if you're writing for the sole purpose of making the reader get sick to their stomach and run to the
yeah.
bathroom, that's not horror. That's something completely different. It ought to be in
Yeah.
a different genre somewhere.
Yeah.
But the Dark Veil Society, I know a few of the writers, and they're excellent.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh man, who do you got? Janelle Sheikey, Molly McCobb, Steve
Yeah.
Stark, and there's a whole bunch of them that are just
Yeah.
freaking awesome. Yeah,
SS Fitzgerald.
yeah, oh yeah, S. Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's very cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I can understand because in my own writing and a lot of the projects I work on, no matter what your main genre is, you do sprinkle in a little bit of other genres.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it
Yeah.
is true that from a marketing point of view, having no main genre, at least
Yeah.
the main focus of your genre, would make it very hard to market, because
Yeah.
most readers, they go to Amazon or wherever and they're like, I want to
Yeah.
read a fantasy story or I want
Yeah.
to read a horror story. And
Yeah.
you got to fit somewhere,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we'll move on. I'd love to ask you about your work. I saw that you had I think it's a novel and a prequel, Ancora and I, Destin. Perhaps you could tell us about them?
Yeah. Well, Ancora's probably it's just under 50,000 words, so it's,
Mhm.
big novella or or really short novel. But yeah, it's basically Ancora. We'll start with Ancora because it's the first one. Um, It's 300 years after an alien invasion. Mankind's living in the mountains. So it's set in Australia, but I don't really say it's Australia. And so the alien technology doesn't work in the mountains, so they're living in tribes and they're um, kind of very secretive because the aliens come in on foot and try to hunt them like predator style, but without the tech. So like um, bows and arrows and swords and stuff like that. So it's
Oh,
pretty brutal and full on. So it follows the story of this girl, Zia, who loses her whole family to hunters, and she's thrown into this world that her father's been preparing her for, but now it's just her, and she's got her father's journal, and she's decides to retrace her father's steps, who's trying to figure out what happened to this historical figure called Destin,
mhm.
who disappeared when he went looking for a way to defeat the aliens forever. He just up and disappeared. So
Oh,
it's her, trying to figure out what happened to him and saying, I like to say it's like the road, but with a bit of hope in it. So she's the only one that wants to fight back, kind of thing.
oh,
And then Destin's set. 240 years before that. So it's about 60 years after the alien invasion, and you get to know about him. And yeah, because these aliens, they come and they kind of like weasel their way into society, and everyone loves them. They're the saviors of the world. And then Destin, this character Destin, gets a peek behind the curtain and goes, "These guys are evil, rebellion." And then he sets off and starts a rebellion. So it reads a little more like a Western, you know, him and his rebels riding around on alien lizard horses around the
Oh,
countryside and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun,
uh-huh.
albeit both are pretty dark, have pretty dark elements to it. I get pretty, brutal in places, but it's also
Uh-huh.
fun. It's also fun.
Cool. Now, a reader coming along, watching this video and wanting to read one of those, what would you suggest they read first?
I don't think it necessarily matters but you have to read both to get the context. Because
Uh-huh.
I've had readers, I had a few readers read I, Destin without reading the other one, and they were like, they didn't notice anything, you know.
Oh,
But
so it literally,
the people that read Ancora loved the little Easter eggs and things that they could pick up on. So I'd probably say Ancora first, just so you might be able to appreciate iDestin
okay.
more.
So there's things in Ancora that kind of prepare you for the prequel.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
because
neat. Yeah.
there is 240-year gap. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, but it makes sense
yeah,
that if she is trying to learn about this, let's call him a hero,
yeah,
uh, and then, that's all fascinating and whatever your storyline is. And then you go to the prequel and you learn about him, which that's
yeah,
pretty cool. I think that's be a good order to read them in and be really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Um, Now I'd like to ask you about another book. Uh, this one, I love the title. Wedding Night, Knight, Wedding Night Trilogy. Would you
Yeah.
tell us about that?
Okay, so this started as an actual screenplay. I wrote three screenplays. They were very, very rough drafts. Because I had a friend that worked in Hollywood and he was going to help me make movies, and then that all just turned in. It's hard. Let's just say it's hard. It fell apart and stuff like that. But so I had this idea because I actually threw my friend a medieval themed bucks party way back when,
Mhm.
where we all dressed up in you know ridiculous outfits and and got a little sloshed. But the yeah, we we're sitting there at this bucks party in the middle of nowhere at a campsite, and we're like, wouldn't it be funny if the zombie apocalypse happened at a at a medieval themed bucks party? And then that's where the idea came from. And I sat down and I wrote the screenplays. And then when I started getting into books, I went, you know what, this would make a good three novella series. And I wrote it. So it's basically the zombie apocalypse interrupts a bucks party, and they're all dressed in their knights. So that's why it's knight with a K.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, so it's Bucks night, Hens night, and Wedding night. So it's Bucks night is the blokes, Wedding night is the girls, and wedding night is 2 years later, and they're trying to find a priest to get married in the zombie apocalypse. So it's very comedic with a lot
Oh,
of horror elements, and of course there's romance because it's about a
yeah.
wedding. So
Yeah, sounds
it's yeah,
really cool. Yeah.
it's a lot of
Now,
fun. It's very dialogue heavy, because it's basically translated from a screenplay, but I put a little
uh-huh.
more meat on it.
Oh, yeah. I don't really mind dialogue as long as the characters have their own voice and you can tell who's
Yeah,
speaking. I
yeah,
don't care for any story, and I'm an editor too, and I really hate when every sentence in 3 pages has he said, she
yeah,
said, he said, he said, she said. That's
yeah,
terrible. From an editing point of view, that's got to be
yeah,
fixed.
yeah,
But if
yeah,
the dialogue's done well, that can work wonderfully, though.
yeah.
Yeah, that one sounds like a lot of fun too. It's going to be hard. Uh, doing this show, I'm going to pick the first one I'm going to read. So I can
Mm.
already tell that's going to be hard to do. Now, I like this title, so I want to ask you about this book, Letters from the Emu War.
Yeah,
Emu,
that was
is
my
that the
that's
ostrich looking thing or the camel looking thing? Which one's an
emu.
emu?
Emu's like a giant flightless bird. It's like an
Is it?
ostrich.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that title got my attention pretty quick. Could
yeah.
you tell us a bit about it?
Well, but believe it or not, it's based on a true story.
Oh.
And it is my number one selling book. People just literally they don't. want to, talk about anything but that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Um, because yeah, so it's in 1932, Australia had a problem with emus. About 20,000 emus migrated west, like basically to the west side of Australia. Um, and they were looking for food, and they found food and started destroying a lot of crops. And so the farmers went to the government for help, and the government sent the army and officially declared war on the emus, and then lost because they couldn't kill them. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like,
Really?
yeah. So I think they killed about 900, and it was 10 rounds per bird, pretty much, trying to kill them. It was just
Wow.
very expensive. So
Yeah.
then they gave up. We surrendered to the emus. Um, but
So you took a
hardly,
actual historical event. Now, I
yep.
don't know if this will lead to spoilers. If it would, then disregard it. But when you took this actual historical event, you got the idea. What was your spin on it that made your story?
It's told by the emus.
Oh, really?
So
And they're talking about
it's
these funny creatures running around on two legs
yeah,
and
yeah. They call us short necks.
oh, short necks.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's literally all it is just letters and newspaper articles. It's like those old school wartime books that you get and you read the journal entries of a soldier. It's that but with emus,
Oh,
you know.
wow.
And it's full of
Oh.
pictures and it's just funny because I play it straight. Like I'm not making jokes. Well, I am making jokes, but like the emus aren't finding it funny because they're at war. But it was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Um,
I bet. And then this last one I want to ask you about is a trip. Uh, the title really grabbed me. The Boy Who Slayed the Gargoyle. Oh,
mm.
you got to tell us about that one.
That was an experiment. On two things because I really want to write fantasy someday. I've worked on stuff, but I've never been able to nail it, if you know what I mean. So this is a novelette, and I thought, okay, how can I sneak myself into fantasy? Um, so it's about a boy who it's set in 1843 essentially, and he's this boy who works the box tunnel, which is over in England, and it really wears him out. Life is heavy for him, so when he sleeps, he dreams of a fantasy land. So I'm like, that's how I can sneak in the fantasy land. So, spoiler alert, he goes into the fantasy land and kills a gargoyle, and then
Oh.
finds out that a gargoyle was the protector of a town, and now this boy's got to be the protector of the town. So he's got to learn responsibility and that stuff. And it's just this blending of reality and fantasy and dreaming, and you don't know what's going on, and a bit of a surprise ending. But it's a real
Wow.
quick way. It's a really quick read. I wrote it for young, like a young audience. So there's violence, but it's not graphic. It's the typical, you know, you know, bandit gets shot with an arrow and falls over, like, but it's not like blood splitting. Yeah.
Um, and then, I publish horror and fantasy in my press. So I might grab that one first, get a look at the little novelette, and if you would even care to, I could give you some feedback on your path into fantasy writing.
Oh yeah,
You
I'd
know,
love to. Yeah.
yeah, I'll just share my thoughts, which,
Yeah.
that and 2 cents may get you a cup of coffee if you're lucky, but
That's right. Yeah.
I'm happy to help writers. I mean, that's kind of what the
Yeah.
whole theme of everything I do is because, back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was a brand new writer and I found it very hard to find honest, reliable, real help. I found a lot
Yeah.
of cooks instead.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if it don't exist, I'll create it. And now I'm
That's it.
helping authors in every way that I can. And then Saffron Asteria, she has Idiosyncrasy and the YouTube
Yeah.
show Booked. Boy, she's a hero for indie writers. She could have a cape and fly around the room, and I'd love to
Yeah.
videotape it. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
She's great.
oh, she is. She's wonderful. Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, we're doing really great. Boy, I tell you, I can say this, and I think the audience would agree at this point. Each of the descriptions of the books that we've talked about, you have clearly shown that you like to write fun and creative,
Hmm.
Really, really cool stories. I mean, I didn't hear anything that sounded boring. It all sounded really neat with
Yeah.
lots of little twists in here and a little twist in there and
Yeah.
things that the
I
reader won't.
love twists. I love
Yeah,
twists.
yeah.
Um,
So, oh, I'm still a little bit at a loss as to where to start. I love them all so much. Now, you know what I'll have to do? I'll put them all on my TBR and then I'll flip a coin and pick.
yeah.
Very, very cool though, the stories, and I like the titles a lot. They're very cool. The covers are neat. Do you have a cover artist that you use and one in
I
particular?
Yeah, well, I have one for the Ancora or Ancora. I worked with um, I think they're Indonesian, because Letters from the Emu World was with a publisher for about a year, and then they went bankrupt, and I
Oh,
still had all the files and still had all the art.
mhm.
So I just redid it myself.
Yeah.
But then I found they did some extra art. Um, yeah, these guys called Art Saluki. I reached out to them and wow, they're affordable, they're quick. So I actually went out with Ancora and did a photo shoot with my niece. So she modeled the character, and then I gave him the photo and I said, "This is the idea." And then I gave it to him, and a week. I had it back in a week.
Wow.
All done. And I was just like, "Thank you." So I work with them all the time, but being an indie, it's tight. So I mainly do most of the covers myself. Just Photoshop, Canva, that sort of thing.
Oh
Use
yeah.
using stock images, doing
Uh-huh.
my 100% best to avoid the AI, because it's
Yeah.
it's prolific, and I think there's a few sites that have stock images and they have a label saying this is AI, this is not AI. So if there's anything that says AI,
Mhm.
I don't go near it. But
Yeah.
the world we live in, it's sometimes hard to know if But yeah, but so I essentially do as much of the book cover myself,
Mhm.
but certain projects when I've saved enough pennies, like Ancora, I go, here, artist, give me the
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, I can tell already you're very friendly, very smart, and very entertaining. But I'm afraid my show is somewhat limited on time. So
Mm.
I do need to move on. I wanted to get this part in. It's usually a very enjoyable part. I'm going to hush for a minute. I'd like you to address the audience, and you can say anything you want. I don't censor. Share anything you feel like sharing with the audience.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you. No, that's not true. Look, I don't know. I think I'll just take this moment to look. I've got a podcast too, so I think it's always good to talk about that, because there's never enough platforms for indie authors.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so stories, the true and the fictional. I run it with a good friend of mine called Ryan, who so I think this is the reason why everyone wants to come on my podcast, because in real time, Ryan will be listening to the author talk, and then you'll see his face just drop, and he's buying their book just live. So he literally buys everyone's books in real time. Yeah, so we're a lot of fun. We have a Discord. You can reach out for that. But yeah, stories, the true and the fictional. Touch base, because we're growing. We're not as powerful as idiosyncrasy yet, but we're building, and we're super supportive.
Yeah. I like to
Yeah,
think I have something of a special show. I do a lot of extra work on graphics and such, but believe me, this is a little tiny show and I don't draw an audience,
yeah,
but the authors do, and that's cool.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you will get
That's
seen, and
it.
I do share this across my entire platform. All the major platforms will
Yeah,
see it. Uh, yeah, if you don't mind, we're on Twitter. Send me a link to is it a YouTube channel show that you have that you can
yeah.
watch
It's
on
it's
YouTube?
yeah. It's we do YouTube, but we're also on Spotify, and we're across it all.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm more likely to watch it on YouTube, but if you send me a
Yeah,
link to that, I'll make sure that link is in the description
yeah.
so
We'll
that
do.
people can check that out and get a look at
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then, of course, I'll start pestering you to see if I can come on your show.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at being a pest. You can ask anyone. I never mean any harm, but I guess I
Yeah.
can be a pest. Anyway, I guess the next thing though would be I'd like to ask you because I do put this on YouTube with the description. I'll put all the links that are relevant to the show, but I do share it on Instagram, Facebook, and other places, and they can't see that description. So if you
Mhm.
would verbally let us know what your website is and any social media that you would like to share where someone can reach out and ask you about, current projects or whatever,
Yeah, well, it's jabryden.com. It's pretty simple. All my stuff is there. You can find all my social media stuff, but it's pretty much J A Bryden everywhere. I've made it simple.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's nice though.
um, yeah, and yeah, I've got all my podcast. The podcast stuff's on the website too. So there's a a section about hey, if you want to reach out and come on, um, you can find us there pretty much. But nice and tight.
Ah, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I've got a little list. The way my office is set up, because I'm an old guy, I've got like a 30-inch television that I plugged into my computer. So I've got our show and then I've got my notes for the show. And I'm
Yeah.
browsing over these titles and I'm still having a hard time picking the one I want to read first. I know they're all going to the TBR because each one sounded so interesting. Now, this is a
Mm,
hard question. Of all these
mm.
very fascinating stories, what do you think should be the first one that I should grab and read and check out?
It I think it depends on the mood that you're in. I mean, Letters from the Email is a quick, easy read, and it's like I call it a coffee table book, so you can open it up to any page, and you're gonna be like, "That's funny." Like, and it's you
Ah,
don't necessarily have to read it from start to finish.
mm.
Um, oh,
Let's
it,
say the story you think most displays J A Bryden's style and skill.
geez, that's even harder. That's even harder. Um, yeah. Well, look, I think Ancora is what I'm most proud of.
Mhm.
I that was my first stab away from being typical me because I
Uh-huh.
love comedy. I love making people laugh, and that's the first two books is about that laughter. But then Ancora was like, there's a few quips here and there, but it's pretty dark,
I
you
like
know.
dark. I like dark. Well, I've got a couple of minutes left in the show. I thought I'd ask you, do you have any current works in progress? Anything going on at the moment?
I have works that I want to get in progress, but no, I've been doing a lot of hard work on the podcast lately, but I've also been invited to collaborate on something that I'm not allowed to talk about. But so
Oh,
there's a short story thing happening, but I'm really dying to get back to the sequel for Ancora 2. Um, so
mhm.
I started that like probably 3 months ago. It's only 5,000 words in, and I haven't been able to get back to it since. So I'm dying to get back to that.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, I started as a writer, I think it's been 6 years ago, writing a novel. And it's too
Mm,
long a story for now, but that just didn't come together. I'll revisit it one day. Then I published two short story collections that I'm very proud of. I love them. I like short stories to begin with. But along with that, I've been working on what would be my first published novel. And I love it. It's a fantastic project. But between all the corporate side or whatever you want to call it, um, administrative, managerial, editing,
mm,
acquisitions, relax and chat, and studying.
yeah,
The things I do in 15 hours every day leave me very little time to
yeah,
write. I'm lucky if I get 2 hours on a Saturday to write. So I don't know
that's
how
it.
long it's going to take me to finish that novel. But I did meet a writer once at a conference. It was an online conference. It was super cool. And but he said it from start to finish, it took him 25 years to publish his book. So,
Wow.
if you come in under 25 years, heck, I think you're doing good.
That's it.
Yeah, so if you're feeling bad about 2 or 3 years, don't feel bad. There's no time limit.
Yeah,
It's not about how fast, it's about how the quality is. How great is it?
that's
That's what's
it.
going to
Yeah.
matter, you know. And yeah, so good luck. I hope that Ancora 2 turns out really awesome. And I think I'm going to take your advice and grab that one first. Uh,
Cool.
and I'm going to grab The Boy Who Slayed the Gargoyle just because I like the title. And I'll
Yes.
start with reading them, but I'm going to read them all. They all sound fantastic. And I'll have links for the audience for how to get to your books. And you know, you guys are going to have a hard time picking, same as me, probably, but there's some great stuff to pick from. So grab you a book. All right. Well, I hate to say it, but unlike many of the YouTube shows that I see, I don't have unlimited time. I use a free version of Zoom, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful, but it'll go literally black in a half an
Yeah.
hour. So
Yeah.
I always try to beat that because I think that's rude, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, with that said, Mr. Bryden, an absolute joy to meet you. Very fascinating to hear about your great stories. I hope that you will visit the show again. I hope you'll find me on Twitter and
Yeah.
I'll chit chat about anything. I love talking with authors. But yeah, it's been a real pleasure to meet you. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
To the audience, episode 56 of Relax and Chat now must come to an end. I hope you've enjoyed this show, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, everybody.